are continuing our LA Delicious series today with Cajun Country Rice here in Crowley at Falcon Rice Mills, visiting with Robbie Trahan. Robbie, we're going to get into a little bit of the history and also the milling process and some other really cool things, and obviously products sold in our local Rouses stores. But I first want to talk about the history of where we are today, Falcon Rice Mills. Give us some of that backstory.
Yeah, so we are Falcon Rice Mill. My mom was a Falcon, and so my grandfather started the mill back in the 40s. My wife and I and my sister and her husband, we run the mill now. It's been kind of a neat journey. We were both in Texas. We ended up coming back, and so now we're running rice mills.
How was that transfer kind of from doing something so different and coming back to Crowley and working in the rice business?
We grew up here, so we knew a lot of people, and so we were trying to learn the business. And of course, my dad was here, and so that helped out a lot. It was a learning process, that's for sure.
And Cajun Country Rice, definitely a very popular product in Louisiana households. But the milling process itself, a lot of people might not know about. I'm not originally from Louisiana, so I surely don't know about the milling process, but I think it's really neat. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we really don't do anything to the rice. We just take stuff off of the rice is kind of what we do. It comes in as rough rice. It has the shell, it has the hulls and all that thing. And so we just take layers off. When we take the hulls off, it's brown rice. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we mill it. And the milling process takes the bran off, becomes white rice. And then from that point, we're just sorting for size.
And let's talk about the different varieties. Quite a few different varieties of Cajun Country Rice. What are we going to see in our stores?
Yeah, so your biggest varieties you'll see is long grain and medium grain. We also have jasmine, which is a long grain that has an aromatic. And then we do brown rice as well, which is basically rice that's not milled. The differences are the texture. So people eat rice for the texture. The smaller the grain, the stickier it is. So when people say they like sticky rice, they're talking about medium grain is what they're talking about. On the high end of the long grain is less sticky, and medium grain and short grain is more sticky. So that's why you see medium grain and short grain in sushi and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Cajun Country Rice, sold in our local Rouses grocery stores. And I want to go back to the history for a second, because in this room that we're in here at Falcon Rice Mill, there are some really old letters hanging up. What can you tell us about those letters?
Yeah, so the letters that we have hang up, we were constructing this conference room. They were clearing out a closet, and when they were tearing it down, this letter dropped from the top. It was pinned up there, and nobody really knew what it was, so we started opening it up. It was a 6-page, double-sided, handwritten prayer that my grandmother wrote, because my grandfather, he passed away, everything was in his head and on this desk calendar that he had. So she wrote this letter, a prayer for protection, and she pinned it up there to protect the mill. And so we framed it and put it up on the wall, and we feel like that's a big part of why we're still here today. Luckily, we have a good customer base. We're very thankful to people in Acadiana for helping us keep our business going. Yeah.
So much history here at Falcon Rice Mills with Cajun Country Rice. Again, you can find them in your local Rouses stores. Thank you for joining us for our LA Delicious series.
Yeah, thank you.
Cajun Country Rice in your local Rouses.
This edition of LA Delicious is brought to you by Rouses.